What is going on, everybody? Good evening, good evening, good evening. I brought somebody with me tonight. So, in case you didn't see my announcement earlier, I decided to bring a special guest with me tonight. And we're hanging out in Paris, as you can see. They let us out of the country for a little while. No, we were not able to stream on Friday for Left Field Friday. And so I decided that tonight I wanted to do a makeup stream for y'all. And I wanted to bring along a very special someone to say hi to y'all and talk about some stuff. And so everybody out there in internet land, please say hello to my beautiful and amazing daughter, Emma.
Hi, everybody.
So, because it's a Sunday and I needed to come up with something catchy to call tonight's episode, we're calling it Superstar Sunday. And because she's the superstar, if you haven't guessed yet. And so, you know that the themes of all of my streams, they all revolve around positivity. Things come from we bring things back around to in a positive way, positive reinforcement. We talk about theology, hence the name of the channel, Theological Coordinator. And so you know, when I was coaching football in high school, there was kind of a tradition that I started on Thursday nights at practice, the night before games, and my players started to really look forward to it. And it was funny because when the seasons would get over, then there'd be the long break until spring turnout. All those months in between the fall and the spring, you'd think that they would forget about this, but when Thursday came around, they would be like, "Coach, it's Thursday, story time." And so story time kind of became this tradition that story time kind of became this tradition that I would tell stories about my life from when I was younger, specifically in football, but there was also other stories that I would tell, and we would take those stories and we would apply them to things in life. And one of the things that I am very big on is facing adversity, and that knowing that in this life you will have things that are your adversary, that oppose you, forces that oppose you, people that oppose you, and really there's we're going to talk about this a little bit later after my time with Emma here, but there's really only two ways to react to adversity and opposition, and that's to either run away or face them head on. And so I thought I'd bring along my princess here. You guys know her as my princess, my Batgirl, my Emma. I thought I'd bring her along because she's got a really cool story. And so, y'all ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyhow, hey, Grammy's here. So Emma, our family's been through a lot, especially, you know, like we've been through a lot in the last 10 or so years, especially in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But why don't you take us back to your life a year ago? You're heading towards the end of your junior year in high school. Up through your junior year in high school, you had been playing volleyball and having a lot of success at that. So kind of walk us through, if you will, what was going on with you from volleyball until the end of your school year last year?
Well, I've been playing volleyball for about 7 years.
I think it was 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a key part of my life. Like, I played volleyball, that was my thing. But I wasn't amazing at it. I mean, I wasn't bad, but like
She was really good.
I just didn't really see a future in volleyball anymore, and I was getting kind of bored of the sport, and I enjoyed it less and less. And then my friend, well, it's a fall sport, so in the spring I had nothing to do, and I wanted to stay in shape. So my friend suggested that I try rowing with her that spring for our district team.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I'd give it a try, and I ended up loving it, actually, and I excelled. I was like built for it, and it was like something I could do so well. And I just really loved the sport, and it was something that I was missing from volleyball for like a long time. And I could see a future for myself in rowing. And
so when you talk about a future for yourself, what specifically are you referring to?
well, I felt that I could row in college. I felt like I was capable of doing that, and that I think it would be a good way, just a good thing for me, and a good way to get into college and maybe earn some scholarship money for it.
So let's clarify this for everybody who's watching and listening. So, so let me give you her parents' side of the story. There isn't a different version. This is the same story, just from our side of the situation. So, Emma's quite the athletic phenom. She's one of those type of kids that she kind of decides that she's going to try something and just crushes it naturally. It's pretty incredible. And I'm not saying that because I'm her dad and I'm biased. I'm saying it because it's true. When she was little, she wanted to play basketball. She asked me to coach her. I coached her in basketball for 3 years, and she was just a beast on the court. And then her friends at school wanted to do this volleyball thing, and she was like, I don't want to do basketball anymore. I want to do volleyball. And I said, cool. And she just was naturally, she's tall. So, you just naturally look at a tall person and think they either play basketball or volleyball or something that tall people would do athletically. But she just was fierce. And I wasn't thinking. Just as a side, I probably should have pulled up a lot of her lion face pictures, and you could see them in the sky of Paris right now if I had done that. But it's like she just has this mindset when she walks on the court, like it's war and I am winning, and when she would block a shot or spike or for a point or whatever, and get the side out, I mean, it just was crazy. And she'd just be like, rah, and we were fortunate enough to catch that on film so many times. But anyhow, she just kept getting better and better, and we were able to put her into club volleyball, and it just was like, this was the route we were going. This was her future. This was her way to college. This was it. And so she got into high school, and she played for the high school team. And like Emma was explaining, at the end of junior year season, it was a fall sport, and the coach, who I love, she's an amazing person and an amazing coach, but she had basically told Emma, I got plans for you, and your senior year is going to be incredible. And so we come to the spring, and like Emma was saying, she wanted to train and she wanted to continue getting in shape and prepare for volleyball. And a friend of hers was like, you should come row. It'd be a lot of fun and it'd give you something to do. And so she does. And just like everything else that she's tried, she absolutely crushed it. She ended up being the number one female rower out of like 50 on the team.
Yeah.
And she'd never done this before. And again, you guys know how much I love bragging about my kids. So this is all her. And I'm telling you, this whole rowing thing, it's a culture I never knew existed. I thought it was a hobby that people did on a Saturday morning down rowing through the UW Cut because that's what they were into. No, this is a thing, you guys. This is a thing, all right? So anyways, you know, we go to these regattas. They don't have games. They have regattas. And I was blown away at the culture and the people and how intense this is. And these are like warriors rowing these boats. I mean, it's just nuts, right? I mean, I'm scared of these children. And so anyway, and we're like, oh, this has just been the coolest thing for Emma, and it's great. And then after rowing was over, Emma came to me and Mom, and what happened? Take it from there.
I told them that I didn't want to play volleyball anymore.
She didn't want to play volleyball anymore.
Because I found out that rowing was like a year-round sport. It's like fall, winter, spring. And I decided that I wanted to try and row in college. And if I were going to do that, I would need to row for the fall and the winter. Instead of play volleyball.
Because you felt that, oh, Sugar, what's up on your lap? Go ahead. It's okay. This is her dog. Emma had a conviction in her heart that even though she was really good at volleyball, she felt like rowing would give her a better opportunity for the possibility of college and earning scholarship money. Is that a fair statement?
And I loved it.
And she loved it. I mean, I've watched Emma play sports her entire life, and I've seen her have fun, and I've seen her have fun with her teammates and everything. This was a whole different level. I have not seen conviction on the face of an athlete like that, except for some that I have coached on the football field. It was so impressive. And so here's essentially the deal. Mom and Dad, I know that I've played volleyball for the last 7 years, and I know that I love it, and I love you guys for being extremely supportive and giving me all of these wonderful opportunities to excel in the sport. And I know that we've always kind of planned that this was how I was going to go to college. But guess what? Newsflash, I want to row boats instead. That's what I heard.
Pretty much.
Now, most parents might be like, are you crazy? It's just a freaking hobby. Oh no. That is not what we did. But I will tell you, if memory serves, I will tell you all that I think we said, well, why don't we parking lot this subject for a couple of days and let's think about it. Let's not be too hasty. And so, Andrea and I spent some time talking about it, and we both just agreed, you know what? Emma knows Emma. And she knows what she wants, and she knows what she's capable of, and she's smart enough and resilient enough and just amazing enough to be able to crush it if she puts her mind to it. So we sat down and we had a conversation, and we told you that if this is what you wanted, that we were supportive, but we gave you one big condition. Do you remember what that condition was? Something you had to do first?
Tell Coach Hammer.
She had to go and tell her volleyball coach herself what her plans were. And that wasn't a condition to us saying yes. It was a condition to us getting closure with the volleyball situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, you reached out to Hammer, Coach Hammer, who is the bestest. Love you, Hammer.
Yeah.
So take it from there. Tell us about that.
So I texted my coach and I asked her if she could meet with me in person because I wanted to talk to her about me not playing for her in the fall because when the season ended the year before, she kept telling me she had like big plans for me and like there's like a guaranteed spot for me
Guaranteed spot.
on varsity and that she's super excited for the next year.
And that you were going to be a captain.
Yeah, and since I wasn't going to be playing anymore, I thought it would be best to tell her in person and sit down and talk with her about it. And that's what I did. I met with her at my school, and
I think it was like the next day. Like you
Yeah.
texted her and you guys met like the next day, if I
Mhm.
remember right.
yeah, she was really eager to see me.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her that, because like I told her that I had started rowing in the off season to keep in shape, and she was super excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I talked to her about how the season went for me and how well I did and like where I wanted to take it. And I told her that since rowing is a fall, winter, and spring sport, I want to do this in college, that it's best for me to keep rowing instead of doing volleyball.
Right.
And she was super supportive and happy. She was sad to see me go, but she told me that she was extremely excited to see where I can take this.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she like told me how proud she was of me, and I was like,
Yeah, it went extremely well.
yeah.
In a subsequent conversation that I had with Coach Hammer, she told me, she said, I've always had the utmost respect for your daughter Emma, but after that conversation, her stock went up with me 1,000%. You know, it takes a lot of guts to do what Emma did, if you think about it. Some would probably argue that it was even gutsier than telling your parents what you wanted to do.
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure, and I was like, I hope she's not mad.
As a high school coach, I can tell you that some of the hardest things I have had to face has been when players that I have personally invested in are moving and like moving out of town, moving out of state, or they decide that they don't want to play the sport anymore. And it's hard, especially at that level, because you've been invested in that player and you've like built some kind of a relationship, you know. And what's cool is that just because Emma didn't play volleyball, it didn't sever the relationship between her and Coach Hammer. In fact, I would argue that it kind of galvanized it, solidified it even more. So you tell Coach Hammer, I'm not going to play volleyball. I'm going to do rowing full time. This is the track that I want to take for college. And so you sit down with me and Mom, and you say, okay, we're gonna make a plan. And we kind of as a family decided that we should probably just go for glory and set our goal for the moon and see how we can do with fall season and see if we can get you noticed even, right?
Exactly.
And so we didn't have you do the district team.
No, that district team was the most ragtag team I've ever seen in my life. our boats were all donated to us, and the best boat that we had, that like we raced in, the stern was duct taped together because somebody rammed it into a dock, and then
goodness.
we just had to repair it. And
It was a hobby.
it was such a large team,
Yeah.
but we didn't have a ton of funding.
It was the first or second year that they had done this program, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And it was 4 schools all combined into one team.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Halfway through the year, the superintendent tried to shut our team down because she was like, we can't have a district team, that's unfair. And we were like, what do you mean? And she tried to use football as an analogy, as like a similarity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's like, think about it, if we have like a whole district football team, like their varsity would just be like superstars. It'd be like one giant super team. I'm like,
What's wrong with that?
well, yeah, but also not each school did not have enough people interested in having their own rowing team.
Right.
So, I mean,
Yeah. The fever for the culture of rowing had not caught yet, I would say. So we knew, and this is no disrespect to those coaches and those kids. It was a tough thing, and the powers that be were trying to dissolve this thing before it could even get started. So essentially, we knew that we were going to have to do something else. And so what did we decide to do with you?
well, while I was at regionals, my team did pretty good, actually. We medaled third in a bunch of things. But the one team that medaled first in almost every single race was Sammamish Rowing Association. And I just remember racing against them and thinking, it's like, wow, I could never, like, we're definitely not going to beat them. And I just, like, kept thinking about how amazing they were. And when I decided that I wanted to row in college, the one team that I thought that would get me the resources I need and the training that I need was Sammamish, because of just how well they did. And my district rowing team was kind of non-existent anymore, and our coaching wasn't the best.
So we knew that it was coming to an end anyway, and no matter what, we were going to have to move you to somewhere. And so you did a lot of homework and research, and I remember all this, and it was so cool. And so we went down and met at the boathouse with one of the gals that ran the place. Got a tour, saw all the boats. I mean, it was phenomenal. And I wouldn't say it was like a warm, fuzzy feeling that we had. We just kind of felt like, yeah, this is it. This is the right fit. You know, and there's a lot of other really good programs out there. And the location of their organization is also convenient because it's not too far away. So we put Emma in the SRA, and she was off to the races, and no pun intended. And boy, the training regiment, holy cow. 5 days a week sometimes. Just nuts. I mean, they really put you through it, didn't they?
Yeah. That was probably... Yeah, rowing is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, my body went through, like, just weird changes because it just didn't know how to handle the workload. Like, I was, like, falling asleep, like, as soon as I hit a chair, just immediately clocked out. And, like, I was so hungry all of the time. I was so hungry.
Yeah, she was like, just, the training was just so intense. And, but her coaches were great, and just the organization's great. The parental support is great. The just everything about it has been great. And even through all of that, uh, that labor and intense training and rigorous schedule, because you're also going to school, um, and you had a job, so like you're busy, busy, busy.
Yeah, I had to give up pretty much all of my social life, which was really difficult for me because I'm a people person and I like spending time with people, but I just didn't have any time.
And we did talk about that. Remember,
Yeah.
we did talk about that this wasn't rec league. This wasn't, you know, we weren't going to look at this as a hobby. Like this was like this organization was like the real deal, and how and what the time commitment was. And it was I know it was tough. It was tough. There were those days where even when you did have spare time, you were just like, I am so beat. I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, I just sleep.
Yeah. So all of that rigorous training and all of that time commitment, what was motivating you to do all of that?
Well, um, well, I knew that I was capable of doing it, and I really, really wanted to, and I thought that I thought that it could take me places, and so I basically just fully invested in it and kind of got rid of all of the distractions.
Mm-hmm. Got rid of all the distractions. Yep. So is it fair to say that what was motivating you was everything that was possible?
Yeah.
Your future goal of trying to get into college and using rowing as that vehicle. That was the motivation, and you weren't going to let anything or anyone stand in the way of that, were you? So what happened?
Oh yeah. Well, after a lot of training and research and reaching out and signing up for recruiting websites, and like endless phone calls with just so many different colleges. Like there were like D3 schools talking to me, a couple D1 schools. I only took 2 official visits though, and that was to Washington State University and then University of Minnesota. Yeah. And
2 D1 schools. Her first year of rowing, 2 D1 schools. And now, mind you, she's only midway through fall season at this point.
Barely, actually.
Barely, yep.
Like, and like Washington State University, they reached out to me. Like, they found me on the website and like wanted to talk to me.
So, what did that feel like? Like in that moment when a D1 school says they've seen your videos on the website, we want you to come visit us. We think you're a good fit for our program. What does that feel like? Because you've walked us through the progression of going from volleyball to rowing with the intent to get into college through the vehicle of rowing. And even though that is your motivation, there still has to be those moments where you're like, gosh, I don't know if this is going to pay off. Like you can hear those doubts in your head. But then you get that phone call, you get that email out of the blue from not just a college, not just a school, but a D1 school, a D1 Pac-12 school reaches. What is that? What happens to you in that moment?
Well, it was so encouraging to me because I knew that I was good, but I didn't know if I was like good enough. And like talking to D3 schools, it was comfortable. Like that could have been a comfortable option. I probably could have gotten more scholarship money for it, and I guess I could have traveled further, but I just didn't see myself thriving or doing what I believe I'm capable of, like I did when Washington State emailed me.
So you went and visited the Wazoo campus, had a great time doing that, and then I think it was a week or two later you went and visited the Minnesota campus and had a great time at that visit, and you just knew in your heart, you knew in your gut, you knew in every fiber of your being that WSU is where you were going. This is what you wanted to do.
I actually, going into the visit, I told myself, I was like, I don't want to go here. I want to leave Washington. I'm not going to like this. I literally, on the plane, I was like, this is a waste of my time. I'm not even going to like this place. I'm like, it's in the middle of nowhere. Like, what am I going to do? But when I got there, like, I think after like 15 minutes, I turned to Mom and I was like, I really like it here. And
isn't that funny?
I don't know, like, the more time I spent there, the more I just really loved it. I loved, like, the culture and, like, the community, because, like, it's a college town, and it's really interesting to see all these people that are around my age, and everybody's, like, there's, like, the Cougar pride, you know what I'm talking about? Like, that is just really awesome. That's welcome.
Huskies
awesome.
have no idea what Cougar pride looks like. No. They just don't.
Yeah.
So this is exciting stuff. So, you know, and we could sit here all night long and take a trip down memory lane of what the journey has been like since that moment. But let's just cut straight to the point. You decided after 7 long years of playing volleyball and being very good at it to change your course and become an erg machine, a rower. I don't know what to call. I don't know what they're called. I don't. Rowers. Okay. Because you have this goal. I'm going to college, and I want to get a scholarship, and I want to go to the best college because there's things that I want to do with my life, and this is the better choice for me. And so we make that switch, we make that move. You start rowing, and colleges start knocking on your door, and boom, there's a D1 school over in Pullman, Washington, on the Palouse, in the middle of nowhere, that says, "Hey, we believe in you, and we think you're a perfect fit. We want you to come row for us." And so they make an offer, and it's a really good offer, and you accept the offer. And so my princess over here is going to college as a rower with a scholarship. She crushed it, y'all. Now, on the one hand, yes, of course, as the parent, I want to sit here and I want to spotlight and show off my kid, right? The coach in me wants to spotlight this incredible athlete, not just because of her performance, I would say, on the field, but in her performance on the water, not just because of her athletic ability, but because of her mindset. Because of her mindset. That, you know, especially that late in life, as a student in high school, you know, to be finishing your junior year and to completely change your athletic career, hoping and praying that will achieve your goal instead of staying on the same course that you were already on. That's a gutsy, ballsy move, and not one that tends to pan out the way that you would want it to. And there was a lot. I mean, there was just like this big wall of adversity. All the odds were stacked against you, and it's like you said, I don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna get this done. And you know, so you took on the adversity face to face. You crushed the obstacles that were in your way, and now we're celebrating the wins. We're celebrating the wins in life, and that is that you achieved your goal. Um, you're reaping the rewards of your hard work, and we're going to talk about this more in just a couple of minutes. But I think that one of the most important things now is that once you achieved your goals, it didn't stop there. That wasn't the landing point. It was more of the springboard to get ready for what's coming next.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I wanted to close out our time with was I wanted to ask you, in light of everything that we've talked about here, Em, out here right now, there could be some kids, some adults, people from all walks of life right now that are in situations where they have this dream, they have this goal, they have this passion for something, and somehow it's like there's a chasm, there's a huge ravine, there's a huge canyon that's between them and that goal, that dream of theirs. And it almost might even seem like it's impossible. If you had anything that you could say to those folks that are listening right now, what would that be?
I guess, like, don't give yourself a choice. I mean, if you have a goal to set, just don't look at it as like, I'll do this or fail. It's like, I'm just going to do this. I mean, like, I genuinely believed that I could do it, and I didn't really give myself like an outlet to chicken out on.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
there was no plan B.
Yeah, I was like, this is what is going to happen. It was never like this or this could happen. I didn't give myself an option to fail, I guess. It's kind of like with rowing, it's like during an erg piece, like, you can't stop.
Right.
There's no stopping. You can't just quit. Like,
I've watched y'all. It's not like you can go, yeah, I'm going to take 10. I'll be in my trailer. No, yeah, that can't happen. You just
don't.
Suck it up, Buttercup. Keep rowing.
Yeah. Even though it hurts, like, find a way to just ignore it.
Yeah. Even though it sucks, you find a way to just ignore it. There's wisdom in that. You could preach a sermon on that.
I guess I could.
I would like to add to that I think it's also important that one of the things that has contributed to your success, I believe, is that you have surrounded yourself with people that will continue to elevate you and take you higher.
Mm-hmm.
And not allow the haters into your life, those who would try to discourage you, right? I mean, those people are always going to be around.
Yeah.
But it's that mindset. It's that this is what's going to happen. I'm going to do it. It's going to come to pass. So shut up and go away is essentially the mindset. Not just because I'm your dad, but just as a human, one human to another. I cannot even begin to express how impressed I am with you and how proud I am of you. Especially during this whole COVID crisis and all of your senior things just being dissolved. It's a mentality that many of us don't get. And I've just been very impressed with how you have faced your adversity head on and how you have crushed the obstacles and are continuing to celebrate the wins in your life and preparing for the next thing. It's a lesson to me. It speaks into my heart daily. And I know that I joke about this all the time, but I mean it, that I want to be like you when I decide to grow up. So, there's folks in the chat right now. Oh, hey, your brother's here. What's up, Gabe?
Hi, Gabe.
I told him that you were going to be on tonight, so
Oh.
I'm glad that he popped in to say hello.
That's good.
um, and Gabe's like the best big brother in the whole entire world. I'm just saying. I thought I was the best big brother. Nope. He took over the business of being big brothers. So I think that's all I got. You got anything else you want to say?
No, I think
All right.
that's good.
So I got a couple more things that I wanted to talk about real quick, but thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. That's my princess there. She's going to take off. Give her an applause as she leaves, everybody. Right on, right on. How cool is that, man? That's my kid. So cool. So I don't want to take anything away from what Emma was talking about tonight. I don't want to diminish anything that she had to say, anything about her story, because it's just such a great story, you know, and it's just kind of a small glimmer of time. The rest of you have not been fortunate enough to go through this journey with her. And it has been one incredible journey. It hasn't been easy. It's been very, very hard, especially the last few months. But one thing is for certain, that is one resilient human being right there. And I thought that just to kind of cap off the message of the stream tonight, I thought that I would share. Actually, you know, I'm going to save that for another time. I'm going to tease you with it. I have a story that I want to tell, but you know what? I think that Emma's story is the most important on this stream. That's why she was here. And, you know, I want you all to hear the underlying message and what she had to say. That her mind was made up that nothing was going to get in the way of her achievement. Nothing was going to come between her and her goal. There was no plan B. There was no other option. That's a really hard place for a lot of us. That's a really hard mindset for a lot of us to have. And so what it actually makes me think of is it makes me think of the story in the Bible, probably one of my favorite stories of Jesus and his disciples. All of his disciples are in a boat. They're going across the sea. And the storm comes up. The waves are crashing and the thunder is clapping, and all of the disciples are in this boat and they're freaking out. And like, oh my gosh, we're going to die. The storm is just awful. I mean, we're trying to get to the other side to meet Jesus on the other side because he said, I'll meet you on the other side. And they all think, oh no, we're never going to get there. We're going to drown. We're going to perish. And then lo and behold, off in the distance, out on the water, they see something coming towards them. And as this something gets closer, they think, oh my goodness, it's a ghost or something. It's a spirit. What is that? And then this thing out on the water calls out to them and said, do not fear, it is me. It was Jesus. He was there, out on the water, walking on the water. And Peter, good old Peter, and we'll talk about Peter in future episodes, but because he's my favorite character in the Bible. Peter says, Lord, if that's you, command me to get out of the boat and walk on the water with you. Walk on the water towards you. And so he does. Peter gets out of the boat. His eye is on the prize. Jesus is out there on the water. A miracle within itself. But Peter says, I want to be where you are so bad, Jesus, that I'm going to get out of this boat and I'm going to walk on this water. And he does. Takes the first step and the second step, and next thing you know, it's like he's walking around Green Lake. He's just walking on the water. But then the story goes on to say that Peter began to notice all of the waves around him. He got distracted by what was going on around him and took his eyes off the prize and focused on what wasn't going so well. But here's the interesting part. Scripture says that that Peter began to sink in the water, and Jesus stretched out his hand and pulled him up out of the water. Now here's the part of the story that most of us don't recognize. Peter was arm's length away from his goal. Do you get what I'm saying? He was within an arm's reach of Jesus and got distracted from the goal and focused on the negative, focused on what was the matter, focused on something other than what his prize was, which was to get to Jesus. And Emma's story reminds me so much of that lesson in that Bible story with Jesus and Peter on the water. She could have given up at any moment. She could have been distracted by everything else that was going on. But she didn't. And I'm so incredibly proud of her. And so if there's a lesson to be learned, if there's a message to be heard from tonight, it's this. You got to make up your mind what it is that you want. You got to make up your mind what it is that you want. And get rid of the plan B option. Keep your eyes on the prize. And I will go one step further and say, put your trust in Jesus to help you achieve that goal. Because at the end of the day, even when you do achieve your goal, you shouldn't be satisfied. As I was saying, when Emma and I were talking, she got her scholarship. She could have just been done. I did my thing, I'm good. No, it didn't stop there. Why? Because she knew, okay, we accomplished this, now what's the next thing? And then what's the next thing? And then what's the next thing? It's a mindset, y'all. It's a mindset. A wise person once told me a long time ago, don't ever be satisfied because it's never enough. When you start to be satisfied, life begins to become mediocre. We never stop growing, or at least we shouldn't stop growing. We should never stop maturing. We should never stop being educated. We should never stop learning from others. There's always something new. We should be like human sponges, always looking for something new to absorb, a new challenge to overcome. Just amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Like I said, she's my daughter, and you may think I'm biased, but I'm telling you, she's one amazing person. And I learn from her daily. So I just want to say, thank you so much to my daughter for coming out and hanging out with us tonight and sharing her story. I hope that this has helped even one of you tonight. But I really hope that this has helped so many of you tonight. That this has inspired so many of you tonight. That you can always you can always be getting better and better and better and better. And that really the only thing that's in your way of achieving your goal, really the only thing that's in your way is you. We like to say in our household, you got to get out of your own way. You know, Emma got out of her own way. And the rest is history. And I'm excited to see what happens. I'm just so excited to see what happens. I never thought that I would see the day when I could, with all humility and full conviction in my heart and in my face, say, "Go Cougs." Never thought I'd see a day when I'd be doing that. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But anyhow, thanks so much, you guys, for hanging out with us tonight. You know, making tonight a part of your life. I don't normally stream on Sunday nights, and so for those of you that joined us and popped in, thank you. For those of you who are watching it now in your real time, I appreciate you taking the time. So do what's on the top of your screen right now. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. All these videos, when I'm done with the streams, they end up on the YouTube channel anyway, because at some point in the not too distant future, I'm going to move my live stream to YouTube. So you want to be there. You want to be in the know. So go to YouTube, search for The Theological Coordinator, and subscribe to my channel, and make sure you click on the bell for notifications and click all, because at some point when I go live, you will want that notification. Second of all, do the other thing that is on the top of my screen. Follow me on Twitter @TheoCoordinator. Just do it. Just follow me. And then when you follow me, send me a private message on Twitter. DM me on Twitter. That's the proper lingo. DM me on Twitter about something that you would like for me to discuss on one of my streams. Like I've said from the very beginning, this is a community that we're trying to build. This isn't about just me. This is about us. This is about community. This is about us bearing this life together. So, yeah, my wife is awesome. She's taking care of me there. Who knows? Maybe one of these streams I'll wear that suit and tie. Probably not, but we'll see. Anyhow, that's my show for tonight. That's my time. Once again, I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out and allowing me to share my life with you. Keep coming along for the journey. This is the place to be. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Have a good night, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Lord bless you.